nobody can be successful unless they can remember the roots from which they came from, because that really makes them. This is the village of Braga, and behind me here is the home I was born in. We're in the island of Lewis, and we're going around the island looking for all of the beautiful food that this island produces out of the oceans, in the fields, out in the moors, and we're going to start collecting these items, and we're going to start cooking them with some of my best friends from my whole career. I'm excited to have you here. We're going to be working together to create some dishes from my island, including your background, and share your ideas with my students who have graduated in my career at Grand Rapids Community College. I chose the three of you because not only have you been to the United States, understand our department in college and met our students, but you have been highly influential in my life throughout my career. I'd like to take you around the island. We'll make the dish for these specific students. I'm doing my last television show ever, and I decided to bring together four of my favorite students. I thought the best way to do it was to create a meal for you. Now, this isn't any ordinary meal. It was actually created thousands of miles from here, back in Scotland. I gathered together three of my favorite chefs, and I met them in my home island, and we created a dish for each of you. This is a very special episode of Cooking with Angus. We'll be going back and forth between the chefs in the Isle of Lewis in Scotland and my students back here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This really is a trip of a lifetime because it starts where I was born and where I learned to cook, and then my teaching career here in the United States and back in Scotland. I have Alexis Rocha, and I've allocated him to you, Freddie. Freddie Lightburn is a culinarian from Nassau, the Bahamas. That's where he was born. And as a very young man, he started working in his uncle's restaurant, and he has become one of the greatest restaurateurs in the world. Alexis was one of my students, and he became very, very vibrant, one of the greatest chefs in Grand Rapids.
Chef, your beaches are beautiful here. A little bit different from mine back at home, but beautiful.
I remember your beaches very well. I remember coming to Nassau for the first time and being astounded by the beaches, but I always thought the similarity was striking.
Very, very similar. Not the hills, but
No, not
similar.
the hills. The hills are a little different, and the rocks, the cliffs. I remember walking into the restaurant for the first time. It was pretty amazing to meet you there.
Yeah.
At the poop deck.
You were complaining about the beer being too cold.
That's
and I
right.
said, most people complain about the beer being too warm.
I know. Well, I just come from Scotland, I was just an island boy. I drank warm beer. But I remember getting my first conch, cracked conch, at the poop deck when you brought it out.
Yeah.
And you gave me the hot pepper. Remember?
I do.
I never really had pepper in my culinary world until then.
It showed when you got very red.
Yes,
very, very red.
But from then on, I realized what it did to the food.
Yeah.
It just brightened everything up.
I like to say it wakes it up.
It wakes it up, yeah.
Gives it a intense, makes all the flavors nice and intense.
It's wonderful to have you back on the island.
It's great to be here. I've been looking forward to it. I love the weather.
The weather's perfect, man.
Yeah.
Just a little liquid sunshine.
Liquid sunshine. Yeah.
So Freddie, the dish you're going to create for Alexis, my former student, he's really a nice, young, creative chef.
Well, here in Stornoway and here at the dock, we've got all these beautiful fishing vessels. I bet you they got some great fresh catch that we could find something.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't we look at the market and see what we can find?
Do it island style and maybe put some of that crowley on it, because when I tried it last night, it gave me some wonderful ideas.
Let's see what we can figure out.
Let's do it.
The house that we moved to from Braga, it always has been a home that has been full of people, and the hospitality in that house always amazed me, and I think that's where I got it from, especially my mother and my father, and of course my sister Peggy, who's just a wonderful person.
Found some interesting sea trout. Looks really, really good.
Wow.
I think it's marrying the flavor of the fish with different styles of cooking, because this is not necessarily typical Western part, more sauteing the vegetables, more from the East. And now we're putting flavors from both worlds together, and that's where a lot of the food is going today.
One of the things that Alexis is really good at is creating dishes that are very modern. I think he's going to love how simple and how clean this is.
Now this trout, you know, the guys caught it today. It's been skinned, it's been deboned, sauteed, a little bit of fresh cracked pepper, a little bit of sea salt on there. We're going to put a little bit of the vegetables that we sauteed down. Here we go. Right over
Oh, that's
there.
beautiful color.
Put a little more here.
This looks really bright and colorful and really...
You know, it's going to excite the senses just looking at it.
I think so.
Now,
So tell me about this, Crowdy, why you think it's...
this is, you know, I was just recently introduced to this, and with the oil that I'm getting out of the fish, with the flavor we're going to get from the vegetables, with the flavor we're going to get from the sea salt, I think this is going to go fantastic. So we're just going to put a dollop right there. Perfect.
And your final component.
It's a beet, ginger, island pepper.
And reduction.
Perfect.
There we have this plate. Well, I'm really excited to make this for him to see what he thinks.
I think there's so much flavor in there. When he puts on his mouth, he's gonna go, wow.
So this dish was created for you by Freddie Lightburn. While in Scotland, we got some fresh sea trout.
It's incredible.
And then the Crowdy is a simple cheese that's made in the island where you take milk and curdle it and take the curds and add the top of the cream that's just been milked off the cow and left to set on the top. And it's called Crowdy.
So just the simple composition of how the cheese is made. This takes me back to first day of class. Chef Angus brought us all in the room, and he glares at us and says, "I can smell the fear in this room." Everything that Angus had produced, there's always a purpose. We talk about mise en place all the time in class. Carries through just life in general, being prepared for anything, being on time, you know, waking up the kids in the morning, having everything ready for them. It's like just having a plan for everything and having a place for everything.
Hi, I'm Chef Olowski, and this is CA 105 Skill Development. The one reason we bring in all the fish is for you to first see what the price is all about. And the second thing is this something I want to do? The idea is, if I'm going to sell 30 of these a day, I better be pretty darn good at what I'm doing. So maybe a little bit more stuffing in there, a little bit of butter over the top, and finish it off in the oven. Just cut it so it goes, so you're under the skin. Good, nice. Okay, so we're gonna cut some pieces here, and we'll roll one up in the banana leaf, all right? Take your knife and come right up through here like you're trimming this up. Yeah, all this part's gonna come off right there. Yeah, go girl. All right, beautiful. We'll let our salt fish sit here, and then we'll crack it open. You could do this with a tenderloin. You could cook it pork like we've done pork before. Again, for your private home chefers, this is a great thing. Use some of those seasoning salts that we had with all the little stuff, because then you're gonna get that, wow, that little wham of salt. Help yourself, gang.
And then we have Steve Couch. I'm going to allocate him to you, Richard. I worked with Richard Sturgeon at the Marine Hotel in Troon when I started as the chef at the Auberge de Cuisine. And he was a wonderful leader, so I learned a lot of great things from him about food, but more importantly about how to conduct myself in a kitchen. Steve Couch matured very quickly as a student and turned into a really wonderful, very creative young chef and a great flair for the dramatic. To me, Stornoway was the big city. I mean, it had everything. One of the major features of Stornoway is its castle, Lewis Castle, and it is pretty dominant in the landscape. It overlooks the small port town of Stornoway, and it's really just a wonderful building. I remember Troon as being just a wonderful place to live. I mean, in 1980, the year I arrived, we did the first British Open.
That's right, that's right.
And
Which was the biggest event on our calendar.
Oh yeah.
It's funny how that event has really kept us in touch from your days at Glasgow Food Tech, then out to the Bahamas, more so when you moved into Grand Rapids, because you supplied me with staff to cope with future opens that came up. The fact that your guys were as skilled as they were was a great asset to us.
And think about that, Richard. That's 33 years ago.
I know, it's remarkable when you think from the day and hour we had our interview to where we are today.
I know. So what I'm really looking forward to is seeing what you're going to come up with for our student, Steve.
This gives us the opportunity to throw our ideas around and use what skills we've got left.
Get back in the kitchen, chef.
Get the whites on again.
Yeah. I wanted the chefs to see the famous kippers of Stornoway, and I took them to a kipper house, one of the only and oldest left in the island. What are you using to smoke them with? Oak. Well, chef, that was some tour.
I think using the products that we've seen in there, we can create some soups with this.
With the smoked fish?
Making the smoked fish the centre part of what we're going to do.
That's a great idea. So do you think we should do several or just do one?
No, I think we should, maybe let's do 3.
Perfect.
Let's do 3.
And then you can choose.
And then we'll select which we feel is the most appropriate.
Let's just go and get it
Okay.
done.
Smells good, Angus.
Yeah, it really does. How's it looking, chef?
Yeah, it's looking very good. Nice consistency.
All right, Richard, we have all 3 here, so we need to make a decision.
So I have here what I would have thought started off as Cullen skink, but we've added to it and turned it into something special, I think.
Yeah, I like that one. And you made the curried cream for it, which is an interesting kind
Addition.
of... Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to make a decision now, Richard. So we have the Cawn Croppic, which is the liver pate stuffed into the cod's head.
I like it. I just wonder if the actual head, would somebody actually choose that?
Yeah.
Once they see it, customers' reaction.
Yeah. And now this one with the small fish, the cuddies, or the cayenne, and in the juice with the butter and the milk and the leeks and the onion. Again, this one's a little bit difficult to eat as well because of the fish head.
Yeah. But I think because it's so different,
Yeah, it is different.
I think that would appeal.
And now this one, which I think this curry cream's a great addition. So if you could put a little bit on top of that,
Yeah.
I think that's going to really be something. You know, I love that. So we've got a little bit of the Orient and we've got a little bit of Scotland.
Yeah.
And of course this is done with the smoked fish, because the big thing in Lewis was the preservation of the fish.
Yeah. I think that, to me, that's the winner. I think that supersedes.
So you think Steve will like this?
Oh, I think he'd love that.
Yeah, I
think
really
so.
do. I can't
I think
wait
that.
to see his reaction when we make this film.
Sue in the usk, the juice of the fish. While in Scotland, I worked with a chef called Richard Sturgeon, executive chef of the Marine Hotel in Troon. He created this dish. It's called Sue in the usk, the Gaelic for the stalk of fish. I'm just going to finish this off and let you taste it. You like it?
Oh, I love it. This reminds me of the first time when I started the Heritage with you, and I was on fish. It's in its time, and where's the fish? How long? And I said, oh, crap, he's asking me the fish, and I'm looking at my stuff, and I know that it's gonna take me 8 minutes to do this fish. Maybe I can make it 3 minutes. 3 minutes, chef. Okay, all right. Looking at my fish 3 minutes later, sure enough, it has 5 more minutes. And chef is living, you told me 5 minutes, how long? And I learned from that experience, when someone asks you, how long is it gonna take you to get here? How long before it's finished? How long before it's complete? Say 8 minutes. Just say 8 minutes, because this is an orchestra, and I love that he talked about the kitchen as music, and everyone had a part in the band. And it wasn't me against you, it was how do we make this come together, and how do we make this experience music for the guest? That was the best part about working with you in the kitchen, was learning to set realistic expectations, and to also always make the memory as important and as unforgettable as possible.
Hi, I'm Chef Heckwolf, and this is CA 104 Bakery. We'll do a rosette, a bear claw, the traditional Danish snail, and then a pinwheel. But you're gonna gently stretch it, and then you're gonna start twisting it. Okay, so everybody should get their Danish stuff going now. But it's really cold right now, so that's part of the problem. So you can either hit it with the blowtorch if you want. So you're gonna start pressing it out. Ooh, they look good. Then you're gonna slice them like this. How are the pretzels coming? Tapered ends, right? And a big Buddha belly. Overlap at once, and then 9 o'clock, 9 and 3, right? They really are learning the traditional way that you would make pretzels. And now we're gonna move down to the end. Let's set it down. We're just gonna cover the whole thing in butter. Apples, spices, sugar. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We'll put it right like this. Just bend it forward.
Well, how coordinated we is.
I know, look at that. Tyrone, it's like we're a couple.
One of the most popular tourist attractions on our island is the Colony Stones. Really nobody knows what they're there for, and they are in a pattern in a very strange part of the island, so they're very mysterious. Really gets your mind working as to what on earth they were there for. The Broch is a very special building. It's perched on top of an outcrop overlooking the ocean. Not very many people understand what it's about, but we're pretty sure it was a building that was used for a defense, probably the Vikings coming in, and or just a place for the village to store product and keep themselves warm. How they ever built it way back then is just a mystery to everybody, but it's really quite an awesome sight. In my grandfather's time, the homes that people lived in were called black houses. Earth in between the two dry stone walls and a thatched roof, and we have some intact that we can actually stay in. So I brought the chefs there, and I really think they got a flavour of what it was like maybe 150 years ago on the Isle of Lewis. The type of building that the broch is and the stone houses called the black houses reminded me very much of the Trulli houses down in Puglia that Nicola showed me when we visited there a couple of years ago. And I've allocated yourself, Nicola, Megan Garstecki, who you know. Nicola was the first Italian that I ever worked with. I had heard that Italians were very fiery, but he wasn't. He was very calm, very considerate, intelligent and clever with his food, with the way he cooked, and with the way he helped me develop the ingredients to become a great chef. I knew there was something special about Megan the first time I saw her. Everything that she learned, she took to heart. She did really, really well, and she's going to be a great chef. This is us here in Lewis, and we're by the black houses, and
Angus.
it reminds me of Puglia.
Yes, you know what? When I see this conical shape here, it looks like this dwelling we've got in Puglia called Trulli.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed because it's the same system, you know? Just
And it's dry, the stone is dry.
dry stone
Yeah.
without mortar.
I can't believe that you're here, and we met when? 35 years ago?
Well, maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
It was about in the 70s, 78, something like that.
And we both worked in this lovely restaurant, and I remember you helping
Where
with the
we
menus,
met.
remember?
Yes.
After all these years, we're both here.
And I tell you what, I am really over the moon. Been
Look
here
at this.
in your backyard.
I know.
Seeing the ocean there. I'm going to retire here. I'm just-
I think I might do that myself. Scotland obviously is famous for whiskey, and now we have our own whiskey distillery in Lewis, which is Aving Jarach, and I wanted the chefs to go over and see the amazing job that they've done over there in Uig with the new distillery. And I thought I'd stop at the moorland to show you some of the scenery.
Angus is breathtaking.
The sheep are out on the moor right now, and they're sweetening up because all the nice grasses and the herbs and everything. So, what about something for Megan? Should we do some local lamb?
Yes, of course, beautiful. I think Megan would love to have something on the sweet taste.
Yep.
So what about some nice risotto with orange, with the
lamb.
lovely lamb?
And then
around
maybe
the
we could
area.
cook it over some of the local peat on a fire
Good idea.
with this pungent smell of the peat.
And rosemary.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, let's go to the fire.
Okay, vamos. There you go, chef. Here we are roasting this beautiful product that comes from your part of the world here. How wonderful that is, nice and fresh. We'll grill some of this lovely lamb.
Right over an open peat fire.
There you go. It's very, very tender, I can guarantee. And it's well seasoned, beautiful rosemary, a hint of garlic here and there.
I think the flavors combinations she'll really enjoy because she's kind of interested in these flavors. And you see that what happened there with the fat
Yes,
dropping into it and the flame comes up, and I
up.
always used to wonder, how is that happening? And then in the ashes that would fall underneath, my father would put a couple of potatoes,
Yes,
and they would leave them there for
there you go.
a couple of hours, and they would come out. They would just be like roasted potatoes. They were absolutely incredible. I would turn them, chef.
Yes, now we'll give a little twist.
Look at
There you
that.
go.
Look at the colour on that.
Wow.
That's so pretty.
Right, chef, I think the lamb is ready. Can you
Okay.
pass me over the rice, please?
Yes, there you are.
Excellent. Let's plate this beautiful lamb chops
Wow.
for
That looks incredible, Nicola.
this lovely student Megan.
We have all these hot boxes and things to keep our plates warm and all that. Look, they just left the plate right by the fire. It would be nice and hot.
Very hot.
I think she's going to love that. I really do. Thank you very much for making this for her and coming up with it.
You're very welcome.
Wow, that is amazing.
So this dish was created for you by Nicola Conti.
Nicola.
Yeah, who you know because you visited him in Italy and he visited the college. It's a very simple dish. Lamb is very popular on my island. It's the #1 meat.
This reminds me of when we went to Scotland and we tried haggis for the first time. Well, it was my first time, not yours. And that was an amazing experience for me because I grew up having filet and sirloin and rack of ribs. So you showed me how to use every part of the animal. And for people that don't like haggis, they should at least try it once because it's quite the experience. And when we were in the little shop learning to make haggis, and the sounds were not so appealing when they were grinding everything through there, but it's a delicious product, and I use that every day, trying to use up every part of the animal.
I'm Jake Brenner, and this is CRB 110, Introduction to Brewing. Who's gonna come up here and help me mash in first? Make sure that you're on the right setting for your flow meter. Start adding our caramel malts and our chocolate malts and roasted malts. So now we're gonna start actually filling our mash tun. Remember, once we are mashed in, we're looking for kind of like a wet oatmeal-like consistency. Then we're using 100 pounds of brewer's malt today, so the difference between a porter and a stout, basically the use of roasted barley. That looks pretty good, Zach. Good job, sir. Start making things smell good in here. All right, we look pretty chunk-free. Let's go ahead and take a temperature right now. On average, about 154 right now, right where we want to be. Yeah, that was a really good mash. Let's start getting set up for an SIP. We'll probably be sparging with 70, 80 gallons, I'm guessing. Let's get our dry hopping poured open. You can't be too sanitary, people. Start your SIP. Yeah, that's nice.
Matt Balmer was my first graduate way back after probably 94, 95, somewhere way back there. I have allocated him to myself because I want to do a classical dish. Because Matt was one of my first graduates, the style of food that we were producing then was classical. So I thought that a dish like Omelette Arnold Bennett, which was a classical dish, would be extremely suitable for Matt because it would bring him back all the way to when he graduated and kind of reinvigorate that food for him. So that was pretty special. The omelette begins with the eggs. I'm going to put a little salt, a little pepper into it. Mix it up. I've got a pan here ready to go. Had a friend who caught some local mackerel. He cured it, he smoked it, and I have this beautiful smoked mackerel that I'm going to put into the omelette. Start adding it. Now, this is a very unusual omelette in that it's one of the only omelettes in the repertoire that you actually serve flat. The main ingredient is the fish, and I finish it with some Parmesan and some heavy cream. But it's very difficult to cook an omelette on top of the stove when it's flat because the top will not cook. So you have to finish it in the oven. That's one of the really beautiful things about it. So as it starts to cook here, I'm just going to find the perfect time when the eggs are nice and firm, but still a little wet. There we are at that stage right there. And then I'm going to put in my fish. And then I'm just going to check the amount of egg white. There you go. The egg is beginning to thicken. And I'm just going to add in my cheese. Even although it's not quite cooked yet, you see it's going to be finished in the oven. And then I'm going to put my little bit of cream on the top and pop it straight into the oven. And it starts to set, and we can serve it. All right, I think it's ready. Oh yeah, it's perfect. So here we are. It's a beautiful looking omelette. So there we have our omelette Arnold Bennett, and I'm sure Matt Balmer will be extremely happy with this dish, and I'm very, very excited to see how it's going to play out with his flavor buds. I'm looking forward to you trying this.
I'm looking forward to trying it, Chef. What I think is so perfect about it is when I taste it, I get all the ingredients, but I think the thing I get the most is I get passion. Because that's, I think, the thing you taught me the most, and it's in your food, it's in everything about you. It's my 20th year at this restaurant, and it's your passion that drove me through everything and helped me find my own. And one thing you would say, and this being the last show, is you'd said one time, you're only as good as your last dish.
That's right.
What was your last dish? How did you serve it? How good are you?
Correct.
Thank you for everything.
No, thank you all. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it, Chef.
Breaking bread together with another human being. It seems to be that that's where community was born. That's where family was born. Chefs, the dishes are done. They're all ready. And it just seems like now it bonds us together for the remainder of our lives. Doesn't matter where we are in the world, food will always bring us together. I just want to toast you, and we'll now just drink a toast to each other. Thank you very, very much.
All the best. Cheers.
Chin chin.
Sláinte.
I'm Professor Holly Van Ryn, and this is Restaurant Management and Leadership, CA 245. This kind of wine, very smooth and very tiny bubbles. And that's kind of an indication of a really high quality sparkling wine. Do you want to tell us about the beer that you brought for us? We should have a pretty good night. So we have our first 2 tables seated. Your next table that's seated, I'll start your observation. You did a really nice job setting the beer down from the right with the right hand, and thank you for delivering beverages for your server. So this is good practice because Craig will have his final practical exam in a week. So how's it going so far, manager?
I think just fine.
Great. How are we doing on seatings? Where are we at for tonight? Nice job. You did really well greeting them. Yes, you did. And your special was really good too. So you're going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. You're going to get an A. I just know it.
When you're building something, these roots are very, very important. And I've never forgotten this place. It's always in my memory. It shaped the way I've cooked. It shaped the way I've taught. And it's really important that I always remember where I've come from. Just stand on the big stones, buddy. Stand on the big stones only.